Boa tarde. Are you all Portuguese? I'll still speak in English. So, how to Ansible it up? I'm Gil, lurched at GitHub and Twitter, all those things. I work for May.com. So, disclaimer, I'm not an expert on Ansible. Who here knows about Ansible? Okay, so this may not be the talk for you, because this is going to be a lot of beginner stuff, and you can correct me if I'm wrong about something, so just to putting it out there. So, my story with Ansible. 3 months ago, I was working in Oxford, and my deployment was basically going to a machine and just pulling from GitHub, restarting the web server, and that was it. So I didn't know anything about provisioning. So they created a meetup, an Ansible meetup, and since Python people they used Ansible, I started going there, and I would ask them, so what is Ansible? And they said, oh, it's to provision machines, and I just didn't know what it was, right? So who here knows about provisioning? Do you all, yeah, okay, the same people. Great, so provisioning is basically setting up your machine so that you can deploy things. So say, for example, if you want to deploy a website, you need your machine to be provisioned with the web server, right? You understand? Great. I'll pretend you understand. So what is Ansible, really? So I find this definition here, which is what? So let me try to explain in this way. So Ansible is basically shell commands written in YAML, so it's readable. Depends on if you like YAML or not. I'm getting used to it still. All piped through SSH so that you can provision machines, so that you can install things in machines. You can do config files. We'll talk about that. So features from Ansible. So it's idempotent. What does this mean? So it means that if you run an Ansible command, so if you want to provision a machine with a web server, and the machine has a web server, the Nginx, for example, it's going to install it if the machine doesn't have it, and it's not going to do anything if it already has it. So it's idempotent. You can run it 10 times, and it's going to be the same result. So that's one of the greatest features about Ansible for me. Living documentation. So you have the YAML file, and you know exactly how to set up your machines for deployment. So usually you have, what's the alternative? Just SSH into the machine, manually apt-get all the packages or yam or whatever you want to, or even the config files. So it's living documentation so that you can provision your machines whenever you want, and people will know how to. It's written in Python. I love Python. Who here loves Python? Yay, great. So it's written in Python, so it's easy to write modules for it. And I won't go deep into it, but it's definitely something that you can do, right? So just to keep that in mind. There's very little requirements to Ansible. Since it's written in Python, I think you just need Python to install it. And if you just run apt-get install Ansible, you won't need much. It's just Ansible, that's it. Also, you don't need it to be in the machines. So if you want to set up a machine, you don't need to install Ansible there, because that'll be awful. You have to SSH into it, install Ansible, go back, crap. Recover after disaster. So if there's an earthquake and your data center is gone, now you have to go to ask for a different provider, different machines, and you'll run Ansible, and bam, you have everything magically put up together for you. So those are the things about Ansible. Also, templates. So templates are great because you know config files, right? They have a lot of little things that you need to set up every time, and it's basically just the same config file, and you have to just change like little things, like the username, whatever you want to change there. So you have templates in Jinja 2, which is amazing. I don't know if you know about Jinja 2. Who knows about Jinja 2? Great, okay. For the people who don't know about Jinja 2, it's a template engine written in Python, for Python. And it's just It's simple. You'll see. I'll show you some examples. So the building blocks for Ansible are roles. So roles are really like the big app for the Ansible. So for complex Ansible things, I'll tell you more about that later. You'll have like a bunch of files that will all link together, and it's going to abstract all the information, all the crap. So if you want to install a web server, for example, you'll have a lot of config files, and they'll be all separated into different directories. That will be a role. So you can magically do a lot of great things with it. Playbooks. So playbooks are like, they are just a set of plays, of course, which will have tasks. Tasks are just tasks. They do things for you. So this is, for example, a task. So you see it's written, this is YAML for people who don't know YAML. So we have the name of the task, which is install nginx. You have the module, which is apt. So that's basically just installs nginx. You see nginx there? Just installs nginx, and it has the idempotency thing that I told you about before. Right, so modules. So that apt there is a module. This is another module, commands. So you can just run things, anything with it. So this shows you that this is basically like a shell script that you just run on the server, except better, right? Because nobody wants to maintain bash scripts. So, because as I told you before, right? Maybe I forgot. So my current job, we use Ansible a lot. So that's why I needed to learn about Ansible. And the project that I found about, so because I'm not a DevOps guy, I didn't have a lot of need to, I forgot the word, provision machines. But I need to provision my own machines, my laptops, because I buy some laptops and then I want to have all my dot files. So I have a repo that has a lot of dot files, basically config files and things that I need to install. This is on GitHub. You can see later. It's better now. I cleaned it a bit. And I used to have a bash script to do that. So, for example, to link files, I'll have to go through the list of the dot files and try to link them to my home folder. And if they were there, to remove them, but maybe I didn't want to remove them. So Ansible helps me with that. So how do we link files in Ansible? This is everything you need to link one file. So we're using the file module. The source is going to be, that's the directory of the file you want to link from within into the destination, and that it's a link. So that's it. This deals with if the file is already in there, if the file is not the link that we want to, it will complain. So we can do manually things like copy paste the contents into somewhere else, things like that. Now, for developers or other conscious people, you'll see that there's a lot of repetition. So if we want to do this for each file, we'll have to repeat all of these things, like the file name, the paths, which in Unix they are very similar. So Ansible brings us variables. So this is where the Jinja part comes in. So this is how a Jinja variable appears. You have the double curly brackets, and bam, that's a variable. So this Ansible user ID is a special variable from Ansible that comes pre-populated. So it's the username on the server that we're running this. So this will automatically give us the username because we want to install the things in /home/the user. We also want the source directory where the files come from. So I usually have the dev directory for all of my development projects, and it's usually on setup. So that's where we're going to get the files from, and then we just need to do the same thing here: source directory, home directory, and with the variables. So bam, that's great. Still, look at this repetition here. That's crap. So let's make this better. We have loops in Ansible. This is how it comes after a loop. So we still have the variables here. I redacted them from the code. and we have the source directory and the home directory, and the items. So we just need to put one line with the name of the file, and that's going to go through item.name, bam. So you'll have like a big file, and I'm going to share all this code with you later. And the same thing is for installing packages. We'll just do the same thing, different module, different packages, and with the list of the packages that we want to install. So let me show you a demo. This is going to be a bit boring because Ansible is quite, so not this one. I'll create a new one. So here we go. We have the playbooks. So I'll show you the playbook.yaml. This is all you need for the linking of the files. So this here, these are the file that we're going to link. So I also added the git clone. So we can git clone the repo with the .files with Ansible, and from that on, we're going to link the files into our home directory. Does that make sense? Anyone? No? Okay. You can ask a question later. It's okay not to know Ansible. For me, it was a bit weird to put this in my mind. Okay. So let's run this. Let's see how it looks like. Ansible. So we run the Ansible playbook because we're running a playbook. So that's a playbook. If I didn't explain. So playbook because yeah. So now it's trying to git clone. Hopefully, I have internet. It's using my private key to get the proper permissions for it. And bam. So you see, they're all okay. They're all green because they're already there. So this is where it can get a bit wrong. So let's try removing the nethack config file and rerun this. Because this is the idempotencing thing that I told you about. So it's going to be basically the same thing. So I could remove this because I already have the git repo, but it's going to still be the same. So you see there, bam, orange, changed. So it's changed, which is obvious. So if we rerun again, it's going to get all green like in the previous slides. So this is idempotency for you. Cool. So the other script is basically the install playbook, which is it's boring. So it requires sudo. So you can also use sudo on your target machines to install things, for example. That's really important. So yeah, this is really just to show you that you can install things on your target machines. Let's go back to the slides. So this is the project. I forgot to make it public, but I will. So stay tuned if you want to. Yeah. No, it's okay. I'll tweet the URL later if you're interested. So yeah, that's it. It's a very short talk. Thanks for your attention. Do you have any questions? Go ahead. I'm sorry? SaltStack. I know. I haven't used it. Is it better than Ansible? Okay. So is it the same thing? Okay.
Configuration management and some other things. Yeah, some other stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So,
in a server.
Yeah. Although
right.
it needs to have a server so that it gets everything. Yeah.
Right.
I was just going to ask you, what you think, what's best, but if you don't know, yeah.
Okay, I mean, well, if you need to have a server, I can tell you the difference. So you can run the Ansible playbooks from any machine that can access the target machine. You can use Ansible Tower to do the same thing that you told me about running on a server. So you can just click a button and it runs the playbook for you. Mm-hmm. So I can run your playbook. I don't need to have it on my computer. So yeah. Other than that, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, is it sensible?
If Ansible Tower is already an open source product. Because there were licensing fees for Tower, I suppose.
I have no idea. So at my company, we use Ansible Tower. They're probably paying for it. Because I'm not a DevOps, so
what happens if in the middle of a playbook a task fails?
And something fails.
A single task.
A single task. Okay, I'll show you. So spoilers, it breaks the whole thing. So it stops running there. So it runs sequentially. Do you want me to show you?
So no, even if the following tasks do not depend on that one, it will fail.
Yes, it will. So yeah,
that's a bit of a letdown.
Yeah, and it doesn't have rollback. Yeah. So yeah. Any more questions?
You talked about being idempotent.
Yes.
So you can run it as often as you want and always get the same result.
Yeah.
However, if you change the config files on Git, on the server, and you run it again, will it detect that some files may have changed? Or will it show green, assume it already has them? Or what would be the result?
So if you change the variable on the config...
No, if you change the contents of the Git server, in the Git repo.
Oh, right. So if you go to the target machine and change something there, it's going to... So I never tried that, but I would imagine that it breaks because... So even with the files, if you change one of the files, it's going to detect that it's not the same. So it's going to try to link. It's not going to... Yeah, I would imagine that it's going to break. Does anyone have any more questions? Because I can show you here what happens. Yeah, go ahead.
Here.
I use Ansible to do deployment, zero-time deployment. But I think I kind of did not use it in the right way because I did it all by myself, and I think that I probably should have like already recipes or whatever it's called that I could use. So how do you usually start when you have to do something and that's not really like one of a kind? Where do you start? Do you go for a website and try to search for task books that can already fit there? And what is the website that you use, and what is usually the process?
Okay, so let me rephrase. Is it to just, how do you start making a playbook to deploy things from
So that I think I reinvented the wheel a lot. Okay.
Okay.
And there were some playbooks and some tasks, right, that I could have reused. Where do you search for them? Where do you start with? Where's the place to go to not do that?
Right. So I think that Ansible documentation is really good for modules. I cannot think of something that you need to reinvent for yourself because they have a lot of modules. I could try to search for the page for you, Ansible modules, but and you also have like some pre-done roles. This is what you're looking for, or yeah. Oh, okay. Roles, yeah. Right. For that, I would suggest to search for roles already done. Because there are some roles that are already done, but maybe they're not for you. Not that I know of. I'll have to search for it, but yeah. Any more questions? No? Great. Thank you, guys.